Hi everyone. Today we're going to talk about the cherry subject of death, but we'll also talk about love. I'll get to that in a second. I talk about death a lot at funerals, and uh, as long as you can entertain yourself, that's all that's important in life. In our readings, we have two readings again because we have the scrutinies. So if you're going to hear the readings with the scrutinies, that's from year A, and if you're at any of the other masses, we'll have the readings from year B. All the readings are wonderful, and it's a shame we can't go through everything. But if you're going to be hearing the readings of the scrutinies, we're talking about the raising of Lazarus from the grave. And then if we're going into year B, we're going to be talking about Jesus. There's a lot going on in that reading. Basically, the Gentiles come to him, the Greeks, and he's asked if he'll go talk to them, and then he starts talking about a grain going down into the ground and dying in order to produce much fruit. So you can see why this theme of death is going on in both of them. So what's the deal with death? And again, at the funerals, I always say, like, this is really what life is always about. And people are just, stunned. Like, are you serious? Get us out of here. It's true. It's the one thing that's like guaranteed in life is death, right? And taxes. And so, but it's like, it's taboo. You don't talk about it. And so, but Jesus is talking about it all the time. And so he's also talking about life and love. And what's interesting for those who are going to go through the scrutinies is we're talking about the death of Lazarus. And when Jesus comes into the town where Mary and Martha are at, because remember, Lazarus is the brother of Mary and Martha, Martha goes out to meet him, and Jesus says and you can see that she's distressed. And she says, "Oh Lord, if you had been here, he would have lived." And Jesus is just like, "Well, don't worry. Well, he'll rise from the dead." She's like, "Oh yeah, I know. At the resurrection from the dead, at the end, and this, that, and the other thing." And he says something very important to her. He says, "I am the resurrection and the life." We really need to take that into ourselves. I am the resurrection and the life. And from there, you know that he brings Lazarus back from the dead. It's just important for those who are going through the scrutinies, especially those who are going to be fully initiated, who are going to receive baptism. And this is important for all of us as Catholics. We take this for granted. The day that we died, okay, we've already died? Yeah. The day that we really died was at our baptism. Okay. I know now we don't do this usually, but the old baptisms, you were plunged into water. And that represented a death. You went underwater, and some of the church fathers talking about, and then underwater we did battle with the devil, just like Jesus goes down into the ground for 3 days. Okay, this is death. Okay, and he comes back up victorious. So when we come out of the water from death, we come out a brand new person. Now, a lot of us can't remember our baptisms because it happened when we were infants, but that's why we have holy water at the beginning of Mass to remind us of our baptism. That's why we say the creed, I believe. We're always renewing our baptismal vows. We're new creations. Our death has already happened, so that when the death that we're thinking about happens, well, there's nothing to worry about because we become a new creation in Christ. This is very much connected. And then again, when we have the reading that everyone else is going to hear, a grain of wheat must fall to the ground and die, so that it can come up and produce more fruit. This has everything to do with love, which is what Jesus was talking about. There's so many self-improvement programs these days out there. And the problem is they always focus just on ourselves. That's precisely what needs to die. Okay, this obsession with ourselves, me, myself, and I. Remember the two greatest commandments. Love God and love yourself. Love is precisely the thing that goes outwards, okay? We go upwards to God, and then we go outwards to other people. We're not going to discover anything great about ourselves by merely going inwards. We have to go outwards, and that's precisely what love does. That's what Jesus is talking about going to the cross. I'm going to pour myself out completely. That's this love, this agape love, this love of God. I'm going to pour myself out for others, and that's when we really discover more about ourselves. Okay? We have to die to ourselves. And Jesus says this. He says, if you love your life, you're going to lose it. But if you're willing to lose your life, you will gain it. And so this is that death that we need to have to ourselves. And I hear all the time, I'm too busy on weekends to go to Mass. That's too much of me. Okay? I need to die to the world. I need to fulfill my baptismal promises. I need to get out of myself. I need to go to Mass in order to love God and to love my neighbor, and also to receive what I need to love even more. I need to live on Jesus Christ alone. And so as we come and we receive the Eucharist, or we receive a blessing this weekend at Mass, let us ask God to die even more to this world, to die to ourselves, so that we can live for God and neighbor alone, and one day see Him in heaven face to face.